So just close your eyes and take one breath in and out. Namostute Vyasa Buddhe Poolarvindaya Tatpatra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharatattaila Purna Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradeepa Shruti Smriti Puranalam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Hari Om.
So we will start the study of Upanishad. I'm going to turn on the recorder. So today we're going to start the study of Katho Upanishad. And Katho Upanishad is the Upanishad that is found in the Yajurveda. As you know, there are 4 Vedas, right? Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvaveda. This is in the Yajurveda, in the Taittiriya Samhita. So just an introduction to Upanishad. Upanishads is the Vedantic portion of the study of the Vedic scriptures or Sanatana Dharma. And Upanishads are the last portion of our study. So that's why it's called Vedanta, the sort of the culmination of the studies, not the last portion or the end or something like that. Upanishads can actually be found in the Samhita portion also, like the Ishavasya Upanishad. Basically, what Upanishads are, they are a culmination of our study of, or Ved means to study or the knowledge that we acquire. Vedas are, there are 4 sections to Vedas. The Samhita portion, which is the mantras, the chanting. Then there's the Brahmanas, which is the yajnas and all the worships and all the rituals. The third portion is the Aranyakas, is the practices that you do when you retire in the forest. And it naturally culminates in the Upanishad, which is the knowledge of the highest. Okay, that's one segmentation of the Vedas. The second segmentation this is called the knowledge segmentation, okay? When we study in the methodology that we use in Vedas, the methodology starts with karmakand. Okay? The actions that you perform, whether it's the yajnas in the Vedas, or if it's in the Gita, the karma yoga chapters. But any methodology that you see, whether it's Gita or Vedas, it always starts with karma. And karma yoga or karma kand is about reducing your desires through karma yoga. Means renouncing the desires for the results is the first step or the first phase in the Vedic methodology to achieve moksha. That's the first section of the Vedas. The second section is the Upasana Kand. The Upasana Kand is where you practice these things these methods to calm the mind, to focus the mind, to settle the mind. And this is the Upasana Kand. This is like, for example, meditation and other upasanas that you can do when you focus on a deity or a symbol or whatever it is to settle your mind. That's the upasana. The worship, some people call it, or you can call it meditation, or any form of upasana that you do. And the third, so that is to settle the mind, right? So once the desires are calmed down a little bit, can you calm the mind. The third step in the methodology of the Vedas is the study of the self, of the Supreme. So whereas the Karma Kand is about the study of Dharma, the Upanishad is the study of Brahman. Brahman means the supreme consciousness, that which is beyond Ishwar, beyond anything that can be described, but that which is eternal, that which is all knowledge, that is which is truth. But it's that consciousness, that eternal supreme consciousness is called Brahman. So Upanishad focuses on the study of Brahman, or you can think of it as your supreme self, right? So that is the Upanishad aspect of the study of knowledge, okay, to attain moksha. So that's how it flows in your Vedic methodology. Upanishad itself, as some of you might have known from before, what does the word Upanishad mean? Upa means up close and personal. Upa, sitting close to the guru, sitting, it's intimate knowledge. So you see, when you study something or you share something which is very sacred, which is very intimate, you always sit very close to a person, even when you're sharing personal things, when it's something very deep within you, like a soul sharing, you share from very deep within you. It's a very intimate sharing, and sometimes you'll even whisper it. It's so close. So this knowledge, because it is given to very few who are ready, who have matured to that stage, you have to be very much in tune with the guru to receive this knowledge. So your wavelength wise also, brain wave, you have to catch on to that knowledge, and the unsaid knowledge, which is even not verbal, but sometimes which is transmitted in the presence of somebody. That is what this first syllable signifies. Upa means you've become very close, in tune with the guru, whoever you consider your guru, that is giving you this knowledge. Now, shad means last syllable. Shad means when the mind has settled, or when you sit down. Literally, it means sitting down, shad, but it is symbolic in the sense that only when the mind is settled can you absorb this knowledge. And also in the methodology of Vedas, it is when the waters have quietened, when all the disturbances in your mind have settled, then only can you see the depth, inside the water. Only then can you see the reflection. So that is the meaning of Shat. And Ni means below, niche, like lower. And that is significant about receiving. It means that only when you come from an aspect of, I don't know, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to receive, to empty your cup to receive, and for letting the knowledge flow down to you, is the significance of Ni. Okay, so that in a nutshell is the meaning of Upanishad. All right. So Katho Upanishad, the setting of Katho Upanishad is that there is a king, his name is, there's a rishi, great rishi called Vajasya Rasha. Now, this rishi is going to do a yajna, and Nachiket is his son. So the whole thing is a story, okay? The story about this Vajashravasa, the great rishi who performs a yajna, and he's giving away everything that he owns as dakshina, as giving away to the needy after this yajna. And Nachiketa observes his father giving away all these feeble old cows and which are worth nothing. And so he approaches his father and he says, sacrifice means that, giving away something that hurts, that means a lot to you, that, hurts to give away. That really is the meaning of sacrifice, something that is dear to you. When you give that away, that is called sacrifice, not when you give away things that you don't need. So Nachiketa, and Nachiketa means Chiketa, means I don't know. And that's symbolic of a student, when a student comes with the attitude of I don't know. So then he goes to his father and he says, if I am your nearest and dearest, who will you give me away to? And the story goes then that Vajasravasa says, oh, I'll give you away to death. That's what he says. So it is not something that he said with anger, sometimes it's portrayed, but because his son is seeking the truth, he says, okay, I'll give you away to the Lord of truth, of death, to know the truth. So that is what happens is Nachiketa immediately is then becomes a guest of the Lord of Death. So he's waiting for Yama, and this is an unexpected death because obviously this is not something that was natural. It was something that was wished by Vajasravasa. So he's there, waiting for Yama, and he's there for like 3 days because this story is just a story that Lord Yama is busy with his other assignments to get these souls who are passed. So he's been waiting there for 3 days in his waiting room. So when Lord Yama comes, he asks forgiveness because guests are very divine. Atiti Devo Bhava. He says, I'm so sorry you had to wait for me for 3 days. I shall give you 3 boons. Ask anything you want. I'll give you 3 boons. So that's when Nachiketa asks the 3 boons. First being for his father. He says, may my father not be angry with me, and may you return me to my father, and may he recognize me and accept me back as his son. That's his first boon. The second boon that he asks is that I want to live in the world after all my karmas have been completed, where there's no consequences for anything that I do. So teach me a method or an action by which there is a sort of a nullification of my karma, and after which there is no dissatisfaction, no pain, no sorrow. So how can I perform this action or this method so that whatever karma I perform, whatever I do, there will be no consequences. So he then teaches Nachiketa a yajna, and that yajna came to be known as the Nachiketa yajna. That was the second boon. And the third boon is about knowledge for the self. So the yajna was not just a yajna for himself, but also for the community, for society, for mankind, for everybody. So the first boon was for the father, second was for the community, for everybody, and the third was for his own spiritual growth. And so he said, my third boon, I want to ask you, if there is a state of being, of existence, which is beyond death, where there is no death, and it would be a state of immorality. And as we'll study, Yama tries his best to tempt him not to ask for this third boon. He says, ask me anything else you wish. All the money, power, wealth you want, I'll give you, but just don't ask me this question. So those are the 3 boons that he asks him. And I will focus more on the last boon, because that is really the subject of the Upanishad is about self-knowledge. Okay. There is one thing I want to do actually is before we go into more depth of this, is I want us to recite Sahana Vavatu together. You all know the Sahana Vavatu mantra, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So let us chant that together. You can just join me, okay? So we'll start with Om and we'll chant Sahana Vavatu. Om Sahana
Bhavatu
Sahana
Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Madvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
So this is a beautiful Shanti mantra. It is the Shanti mantra for the Yajur Ved. There are 4 Vedas and each Veda has its own Shanti mantra. And this is for the Yajur Ved. This is a very common one because a lot of the, a lot of our Upanishads, a lot of our chants, a lot of these things come out of the Yajurveda. Yajurveda is a very common or most used Veda compared to the others. So that's why we hear this a lot. Even the Rudram, of course, the Rudram is in multiple Vedas, but the Namakam and Chamakam is also from the Krishna Yajurveda. So that's why this mantra is very common. Do you want me to explain the meaning of Sahana Vavatu, or are you familiar with the meaning?
I am familiar, but sure, can hear from you.
Okay.
Yeah, me too, but love to hear from you.
Okay, we'll just do it quickly. Sahana Vavatu. So this is about the protection. So basically what you're doing, it's a Shanti mantra, but when we invoke, when we start a study, we want to create a certain atmosphere or an environment. First environment is an environment of protection, whether it's protection from a psychological state of mind, from outside of nature, a protective environment before we start our study. So that is Sahana Vavatu. Sort of like creating a shield around our study group, creating a shield where we will be protected while we study, whether it's from any kind of negativity or disturbance, internal or external. That's Sahana Vavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu is that may we be nourished. Now, nourishment is not just about food and water and all that, but is also maybe be nourished with the light of knowledge. Maybe be nourished by positive thoughts, maybe be nourished by positive emotions. Okay, so all sorts of nourishments that we need for our study, may we receive those. Of course, you need to have a nourished body. Otherwise, if your body is not in good health, you will not be able to study or do anything. So for our body, mind, spirit, may we be nourished, and intellect. And Sahaviryam Karavavahe. So this is about, may we have the energy and the virility to study this knowledge, because you do need a certain amount of virility or energy to have this drive or this fuel within you to absorb this knowledge. So you know, in the olden days, if you watch some of these old videos, or even so, Chinmaya Mission has some very good series on this knowledge, and you'll see, you know, how the student or a prospective disciple used to take a bundle of wood. I've forgotten the name of the bundle. There's a name for it, but they used to take a bundle of wood to the guru, to the teacher, and say, hey, please accept me as your student. So people think it's like physical wood. It was physical wood, but it was symbolic, saying, I have that energy in me, or that the virility in me to acquire this knowledge. Okay, so that's the meaning of that. And then Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, may the spiritual light in us increase, because what happens when we acquire this knowledge of the self is that light reflects in us much more. It starts reflecting in us. So that is Tejasvi Navadhitamastu. Ma Vidvishavahay. Ma Vidvishavahay means, may we not be argumentative, may we have samvad. Samvad means, may we have more productive discussions. Let our opinions not be condescending. Let there be no dissent in our opinions. So let us discuss things in a peaceful, constructive manner, in a healthy manner. So that is Ma Vidvishavahay. Let's not be argumentative. Okay. So that it's so almost 8:30 already. Have any of you studied the Upanishad before? Do you know about the verses or any shape or form? Have you done any homework, or have you studied this before, any of you? Katha Upanishad.
I had a chance to go through it, but I'm so sorry to say this, I totally forgot.
Sujata.
Yeah.
Who did you learn from?
One of my father-in-law's friend, who was also, like, you know, teaching in Chinmaya Mission.
Okay.
So I forgot. So I would like to refresh again. So I downloaded this. IIT people have created the Upanishads link. So I would like to just go through it. That's the reason I was curious to join the conversation with you. So
Okay, good.
yeah, but in general, it is said that, like you started again beautifully in the beginning, that it is a very close knit conversation between the guru and the Sishya, about the intimacy of making love with the divine, right? So so that's the thing I'm looking forward to learning.
Yeah. So yeah, you can. I'm not gonna have time to go verse by verse. So in Chinmaya Mission, they go verse by verse. They do it a very traditional way.
Yeah.
But I will do more high level. You know, I'll go quickly over the first two bones. But I think the one that I really love is the third bone, and certain topics that they cover there, like Shreyas versus prayers. And I think that's very important even for our children to learn. Shreyas versus prayers. That's one topic. There's another, there's an explanation of Om in this one as well, in this Upanishad also. Nice, beautiful explanation of Om. And of course, the explanation of the chariot. So Kathopanishad, actually, there's a lot of verses that were almost cut and paste from here into the Gita. And so the chariot, the whole symbolism of the chariot is sort of copied from here into the Gita. So there are some other things also. They're very nice. The third boon, the topic, is very nice. So did anybody have any questions? I'd like to make open for suggestion and Q&A as to what you want to talk about in the introduction that I gave. Is there anything that struck you about the 3 boons that I mentioned?
I would say the last one, yeah. The one where is he wanted the knowledge about the death, because I believe most people are intrigued by that, because it is certain for everybody. So they would like to know something more about it, how it is related with the self and supreme being.
Yeah, he asks about, is there a state which is beyond death? So that is why, you know, he goes to the Lord of Death. I mean, obviously, he would be the best person to ask. And do you notice anything about why would he ask for these particular boons? One which is, see, the thing here is that Vedvyas has structured this with a great deal of intelligence. So there is a structure around it, in the sense that the first is for your parents. So, you know, when you get the Upanayanam, the Janayo, you have, as a student, you have 3 threads. There's 3 vows that you take. And so this is sort of synonymous with those 3 vows. So one is your duty towards your parents. The second is your duty towards the world, towards the community. And the third duty is for your own knowledge. As a brahmachari, is knowledge that you want to gain. So that is why someone had not, I don't know if it was Swami Chinmayanand, from somewhere I had learned this, that this is why these are the 3 boons that he asked for.
Is one more important than the other? Is there a particular order?
I think that they all lead to moksha. So, you know how you have the 4 purusharths, right? But the first purusharth being dharma, artha, kama, moksha, doesn't mean dharma itself is a purusharth. It is sort of the foundation. So, dharma being the foundation by which you should attain artha, dharma being the foundation by which you should desire or have kama, and dharma being the basis for moksha. So it's not that, you know, having your duty towards your father or community is less important, but they are necessary while you're here. And in that phase of your life, there should always be external pursuits based on dharma, and there should be internal pursuits based on dharma.
That's something new I learned today, and it's fascinating. Thank you. I didn't.
What's the new thing you learned? I'm curious.
No, I'm saying this is something new that I learned today. It's fascinating.
Okay.
I didn't know this, because I've been through Upanayanam, but I didn't know this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You know, like in our in the Vedic tradition, there is nothing wrong with having desires. The difference is that you cannot survive. I mean, you cannot exist without desires. But the point is that your desire should be based on dharma, not adharma. Okay, but of course, karma yoga is different. You know, there is the nishkam karma and sakam karma. You know, that's different. But when you have desires, make sure that they are dharma. That's all it means. It means, supposing, for example, that you can be ambitious, you can want, you know, some success in your career, but don't sacrifice, you know, dharma means don't be greedy, or don't sacrifice your morals to get there.
Right.
Right? So
So what is moral in in the definition, because what is right for you may not be right for other people.
Yeah, but
And
that is defined. All of those are defined. I mean, for example, if you look at the Karma Kand or if you look at the Gita, it will always say what is the basic morals of that is. When I was giving the example that, you know, whenever you want to achieve something, there's nothing wrong in having power, money, and fame. Money, power. Oops.
Can everybody please?
Okay. So there's nothing wrong in having money, power, or fame. But moral is, I was just using a very loose term here because the point is that whenever you do something from the ego or only for elevating yourself, that in itself is not dharmic. But when you do anything from yourself, from your conscience, from good intentions, so to say, you know, when your conscience is clear, then it's fine. Because anytime you do something from your ego, now in general, of course, Gita is not going to say do this, do not do this, etc., etc. But in general, you know, high level, like it's very difficult to go point by point into everything. But anytime you do anything from your ego, you know, somebody wants to become famous because he wants to be known, and you know, he wants other people to know him, or he wants to get ahead, and this and that. Then that is not something which is dharma. Dharma means that which is natural. That which is dharma doesn't mean dharma is not religion, or it's not. It's misunderstood. Dharma means that by which you are following the natural principle, the supreme principles, you know, which is righteousness, which is duty, and so forth. So when you follow a natural principle, it will obviously come from yourself, from your inner self, not from your ego.
thank you. Got it. I was on mute.
No problem. It's hard to summarize it like that, but yeah, it's. I guess that makes sense. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. Like it's very beautifully said that, you know, the desire from dharma and boasting from ego is like, you know, not the improvement that we want right now, right? That's the very, yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have last 2 minutes, just a time check.
Yeah, I know. So next session, I will go into the next, you know, the first two bones quickly. And then the third session, then we can start on the third bone. Okay?
Yes.
Sure, Vinita ji, just one comment. You mentioned what struck us, right? So what struck me was where he was asking, can I live my life in such a way that I am untouched by karma, or I extinguish all my karma, and then why does he want to do that, right? Does he want to do good for the society? Why did he specifically ask that?
Yeah, he asked for that bone not just for himself, but also where there's something that everybody can perform by which their karma will be nullified. Karma yoga, you know, so karma will be nullified so that we can exist in the world without karma, without the bondage of karma. So the Nachikheta Yajna is not just a physical performing of a yajna, but it is it's a process, you know, that I'll talk about it next session, but yajna is not just a sacrifice that you perform. It's a process of purification. That's essentially what a transformation, evolution, but essentially purification. So fire symbolizes purification. So he says, give me something by which we can purify. And when purification happens, then our karmas are nullified. And then we can live in this world as a pure being without having any consequences of our actions. So that's what he has asked for.
Yeah, that's actually very deep. Thanks.
Yeah.
As of right now, how many sessions do you think we will need to go through Kathopanishad?
You know, I think it will take about 4 to 5 because, you know, we have only 40 minutes. So that's why it's going to take a few more sessions. If it was 1 hour, I'm going to lose this thing now. It's 8:40. We're going to lose. But I think basically because it's, you know, it's 40 minutes, it's going to take, you know, 4 to 5 sessions because the last one, it depends, you know, it'll take at least 2, the last boon. I want to do justice to it because it's very beautiful. So it might take 2, may take 3, but it depends. I'd like to discuss it also, you know. I just don't want to keep talking.
Yeah. No, that's why we like this sessions, so that we can ask the questions also. Is that some kind of something that you refer? I mean, you want us, specifically me, to refer to study a little more? I did study basic thing online about Upanishad, but is there any book or something?
Yeah, if you want to get a book, you know, there's books. I would recommend Swami Chinmayanand's book. Then there is, who was the vice president who wrote the commentary? Radhakrishnan. His book is very good. I'm going to refer to Radhakrishnan's book. It's just got very nice translations and commentary. But you can go on YouTube, you can watch a video. You know, I'd sent Shriyam's video. If you have Guru Shri Ravi Shankar's, you can watch that. You can watch Swami Chinmayanand's. Any of them will do. But for me, I don't want to put you through something like that. You know, when we do it live, it's very convenient for everybody, and we absorb it more. So.
Okay, no, I got it.
And towards the end, we'll have a test.
And Seema will score the ace.
I'm very bad at. I wish I knew Sanskrit. Unfortunately, my Sanskrit is not my strong point. Even though I'd love to be able to chant and know it by heart, but so I sort of shy away from reciting all the mantras. Okay, so glad you could all join and start. It's going to be a beautiful journey. I love this Upanishad. It's like a story, so it makes it very enjoyable. It's like Aladdin and the 3 Poons, you know. So it's a very enjoyable story, but with a lot of depth. I'm glad you could all join.
Thank you. Thank you for initiating this, Vinita. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you all, actually.